Hello, everybody. Welcome to another amazing episode of Life Theories with your hosts, Diana from Trailblazers of the Universe and Jay from Journey of a White Feather. And I am Sarah, or Small Sarah Big Soul. And we are here each and every week with you to chat about our theories about life and spirituality and all things in between. So this week, I think our chat's going to be just about how we're handling the shift and all of the changes going on the planet. There's lots of big energy moving around with the retrograde coming up. Mercury retrograde. A lot of us are feeling that it's creeping in. There's another retrograde happening right now too with Neptune. So there's a lot of big energies moving around on the planet right now. Lots of frequencies shifting about. So we're going to chat with you a little bit on how we're coping with that and things that we've been experiencing over the last little bit. If you like what we have to say today, feel free to subscribe, give us a little like, and hit that notification bell so you can catch up with us next time we do another chat. So, Diana, how's things going with you? I know last week was really heavy for you, and there's a lot of big changes going on in your life. So, what say you, Diana?
Yeah, so for those of you who didn't know, my mom is no longer with us. It was by choice, kind of a traumatic event. So went to her funeral. The one thing this is gonna probably sound weird, but you know what, we're all spiritual people here. So, and this is what's helped me cope with that kind of grief and that kind of event. When you see someone in a coffin, right, like, when you feel their skin, right, it's that heavy, it's like, you can just see the consciousness is not there. You can see that this was just a meat suit that we were in. And it's gonna sound weird, people are gonna probably think I'm psycho, but I don't care. But this is what helped me. But it felt so heavy and just all that layers of skin, right, and even what they do to the body to keep it still going, right? And I could just tell, it was nice to see that she finally looked at peace. She was a lot of pain in her body, she had health issues, there's issue in every aspect of her life. This is moving forward in the evolution of her soul. Whether it's whatever happened, the way she went out was kind of, it was a certain choice, and people have different opinions about that, like about what happens to your soul after, right? But regardless, your soul is evolving to the next stage. It seemed like she was very stuck here, right? She was stuck, so stuck that she had to go out that way. So even if that means she has a lot more lessons, whether it's reincarnation, whether it's whatever you believe in, her soul is moving on toward the next step of the evolution. And that's why I say, even here with everything that's going on the planet, right, the energy shifts, our souls are also going for the next stage of evolution. And that means more, so things might be falling apart, caving in, stuff's coming to the surface for awareness to be fixed, right? Whether it's Mercury retrograde, Lionsgate, whatever, it's all things are being brought to our awareness. You can't shove stuff down anymore. It's coming up. And if what you resist persists, like, I'm seeing this more than ever with me right now, that was with her, and that's why I think she did what she did. It was coming, she's suppressed for so many years. I've done a lot of inner work. I'm not saying I'm some perfectly healed person or anything, but I've kind of prepared for a lot of this stuff, and going through my addiction when I did, going to the facility, the holistic facility to get help, I learned a lot. That kind of prepared me for all this. If I was in the state I was in before, even like a year before, I wouldn't have handled this as well. Some people think, oh, you're handling it so well, you don't seem like you're upset. I'm like, yeah, I went through my emotions. I'm sad. Me and my brother are both sad. We've been angry. You go through emotions of grief. It's your mother. If you saw her the way we saw her for the past how many years, suffering, just unhappy, I knew she didn't want to be here, and I think she would have done this earlier, but she knew I had my issues before. She didn't want to affect me. She tried to leave us in the best position that we could. My dad, that's a different story. That's between them, and that's, inner child. We talk about inner child, so now I see a lot more. I see from his perspective, my whole life I was angry at kind of my dad because I saw things from her perspective, right? A lot of the pain she was in, and I realized a lot of the beliefs I had about men, about relationships and stuff, were not mine, man. It was like just how we're programmed by society. You're affected by your parents. I mean, you're from 0 to 7, right? You're in a hypnotic state, right? In your brains, and what they say in the theta wave. I always say the wrong thing, but it's easily programmed. See. So I, in a way, even though she's gone, I'm sad. I'm in the same house as her, for love of Jesus. But we cleared her stuff and stuff. But I know she's at peace. It's the next stage of her spiritual evolution. I think we attach too much to things. We have to understand everybody's gonna go at some point, man. We all have our time, dude. I've had friends that have passed away. I know you have. And they're all gonna, and everyone has their time. And whether you believe it's chosen or there's a divine order to everything. And I think we're going to see a lot more, to be honest. I'm not saying the exact way she did it, but with everything that's going on the planet, I really feel like there's something big is about to happen that is gonna F up a lot of people. I'm not trying to fearmonger anything. I'm just saying that's as an empath, I felt when this was about to happen. I didn't know what it was. Now I feel like there's something else, and I feel like it's the people who can't handle stuff are really. It's going to be a rude awakening. And for the people who have done inner work, I'm not saying it's going to be easy for everybody. I mean, for the people that have done inner work, but when they say a divide, the 3D to 5D, the new Earth, essentially, this is like, how are you going to handle stuff? How are you going to keep your vibration when everything's gone to shit? Or when everything is, how are you handling stuff? How are you handling all the emotions you suppressed for some years are coming up? I'm still getting triggered. There's a lot of things that have come up for me. There's layers to it, like I said. But I'm aware of it. I'm like, oh shit. But it's not like our last video, Life Theories. I said it's an opportunity. It's a challenge, but it's an opportunity. Hey, this is what's left. This is for me. This is what's left. I don't know what else is gonna happen, but because anything I pushed down or I was living bad for a while, So there's still things that are gonna manifest from the way I was living for a long time. The vibration I was putting out, the thoughts, the beliefs I had. I made changes, but there's still some things that need to be tweaked, and I'm just kind of taking it one day at a time. You could overwhelm yourself easily. I think a lot of people are going to have a lot of crazy things because whatever you've been avoiding, you can't avoid it anymore. It's going to be like loud in your face. And it's tough. And it's tough, man. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying I'm breezing through this. Obviously, this is difficult for me, but I'm seeing it as an opportunity to, and this is when they talk about ascension. I don't like all the labels, 3D to 5D, all that, but there is a shift in consciousness, and we're at the age of Aquarius now, right? There's a big shift happening, and you're either going with the shift and allowing the changes and gonna raise your vibration and ascend to a higher vibration at new earth in that kind of way, or you're gonna go down with the burning ship.
Yeah. Well, this retrograde, it's really going to kick a lot of people into gear. If you haven't been doing your inner work, if you haven't
shadow work, if you have done shadow work, I'm sorry, you're effed. I mean, you can get through it, but it's going to be intense, is all I'm going to say. I don't want to down
like
people,
what we said last time, like retrogrades aren't there to bring you down. They're there to put in your face what you need to work on.
Yeah.
And if you haven't been working on it, you're going to get shown a lot of stuff this retrograde, and it's going to hit you like a ton of bricks. So start working on your stuff. You got a couple of days left.
Start now, man.
Like, really start it now. Like start looking at your shadows, start looking at your demons, start looking at the things in your life that need to be changed now. And, really start bringing your awareness inward. Look at yourself. Stop looking at why your life is fucked up from the outer, what's causing it from the outer, and start looking at how you need to take responsibility and to shift your own life. What can you take responsibility for that you've created within yourself? Because we're all creators. We create our own reality every day, like what Diana said, with our thoughts, our actions, our everything that we do creates our reality. So if you are doing things that are unsavory, dishonest, not to your highest potential, you got to start shifting that stuff, because it's going to start biting you in the ass. And like what you were saying, Diana, about how you're feeling this heaviness in the air, like something's going to happen. I honestly believe there's a lot of stuff that's going to be stirred up in this retrograde in particular, of the people that haven't been working on their stuff as deeply as they could, of the people that are trying to shove it down and, ignore the fact that
ignorance isn't bliss anymore, man. Ignorance is not good. I know I used to be like one of those people. I used to like to go, through the use of different things to take my mind away from stuff. But the farther I went away from my body, the farther I got away from being present, the harder it was. When I came back down, I crashed. That's what I'm saying. So if you just work on this little bit, I'm not saying you have to do all your work in one day. And we did do a life theory, and we did do our life theories on the shadow work one. I think that would be a good one.
Yeah, we did one.
I'm gonna hyperlink that above. That would be a good one to look at now. Matt, we had a good conversation about the shadow work, and it's okay. I mean, and I think there's going to be a lot of distraction and they're revealing some stuff. There's a lot of stuff going on in the background. The forces on this planet that don't want to see humans ascend and raise a vibration, they're going to use every trick in their book to put you down. So be mindful of distractions. Don't worry about what's going on with celebrities. Don't worry about what's going on with your neighbor, friends. Everybody has their own things they need to work on. A lot of people are projecting. A lot of people, it's intense and they can't handle it. So distractions come like in a form of sometimes just taking energy from you, right? Because the less energy you put on yourself, that you're not as powerful, right? You're more powerful when your energy's more in yourself. Be mindful of what's trying to take your energy, and especially when you're trying to do your higher purpose. When we're making our videos, when we're doing this kind of stuff, I notice energetically, like on Facebook and stuff, people try to message me every time I'm trying to focus on a video or have a thought. Like, there's literally people trying to distract and trigger, and that's no coincidence. That is no coincidence, man. So I just ignore. I block a lot of people now, and that's why I have a vision. I know what time it is, and I think there's some people that are kind of in limbo, right? And I think we could help them, inspire them more. I'm not saying it's too late. I'm not saying it's doomsday, but in a sense, in the spiritual warfare, but it is if you don't start to work on your shadow. And look what happened with my mom. You know what I'm saying? That was too overwhelming. So for her, I know that's part of what was going on a deeper level.
Well, your mom's not the only person that's going to go through that.
And other people have been
in the next little bit.
Popping
there's so
off
much
too,
heaviness.
Yeah,
there's so much heaviness going on the planet right now. Not everybody's going to be able to handle
the frequencies. They can't, or they don't want to change, or they feel stuck, or dark entities or forces or whatever beliefs or whatever form have taken over to the point like they can't. They don't know how to get out of
it. They're doing everything that they can to win the fight. And
they have all the lower hanging fruit, right? It's lower hanging fruit. This is low. Oh, these people are low vibration. They're easier to control. Oh, they're already depressed. They're already angry. They're already triggered. You know what I mean? They're going to go after the low hanging fruit, as I would call it.
Yeah, but you got to also put it this way, and there's a lot of happening down here for me. Anyway, everything's coming forth. To summarize it, I guess, in a way, is number one, we're going through Neptune retrograde, which is basically, let me just get that up because I keep mixing it up between that and Pluto. But what they say is basically false beliefs, getting rid of false beliefs, getting rid of those old beliefs, which is basically what's happening now.
Fear too. Yeah.
So it's illusions that are holding you back. Now, what has come forth for me, two things. Being an empath is a pain in the ass because you can see what's happening with other people. Number one, you can pretty much predict what's going to happen in the future, right? Pretty much predict. Not to say you've still got to get there, but this is the way it is. It's basically there's your inner belief and all those kind of things. So that's what's happening with me at the moment. So you go and say, right, this is what's happening. You look at, and whether you read too much into it or someone, I don't know, but you just go with the flow and go, if this comes to you, this must be important. That's how I do it. But also you can see the chaos, especially with Mercury retrograde, chaos with communication, and like it gives you got to stay out. I mean, you got to stay out of the chaos, man. Far out. Fuck me.
It's all distractions.
There's it's distractions of what we're doing. All the good stuff's in there, like as I said. Cortez giving me the foot up the arse 2 weeks ago to say, do Journey of a White Feather as an audio book. Yeah, that's going to progress, all those things. But, for example, we're looking at all the people in society that haven't woken up, or you can feel the energy of workplaces. So this is big for me. So I'm saying today is going to be a bit of a chat about where I'm going to go next year with regards to the teaching side of things, and everything's just bloody load of shit, really, because and the way society is with regards to their workplace, I can see why people aren't coping and getting out.
40% the education system is one of those systems that's kind of been dumbed down and moved over to the dark side too. So even the education system right now needs to change.
Yeah,
like there's so many parts of it that just aren't even beneficial anymore. So
down here, it's mainly, and Diana was talking about people being, what's the word for it? People have been influenced, or that the entity or the energy is not. If you haven't done your shadow work or you've done it, you can't rise above it or work with it. People's ego, it's like feed the ego, mate. Here you go, have that. It's like they're causing rift, and you go, that's your weakness, which is your ego. They feed that, and people can say what they bloody well want. We've all been through it. The ego getting fed is not a good thing if you haven't got control of it. There's nothing wrong with feeding your ego if you've got control of it and you know how to utilize it properly. Most of these clowns don't have a freaking clue what's going on. They go, oh, this, and I think being what I am and being what we are, we feel this, and it's just like, and sometimes you have to double check, you double guess what you're feeling. Like I use that technique to say get in touch with it, but again, all I do it is for reassurance in some way, to talk to the universe and get in contact with it. But things change on a minute-to-minute basis as well, because people make choices to change their reality, if you know what I mean. And most of the stuff, but I know the feeling of, one thing I did learn, I know the feeling of, if I know something, I've got to do it. For example, the drummer in our band left his gear at this nightclub 2 weeks ago. He rings me up. He was having a bloody panic attack, and I go, "All right, nah, it's there." I just something told me I got to turn around and went and did it. Sure enough, that's how sure I was. So what that taught me is be in the moment and be in the moment, and make sure you know, if you've got a full belief, you go and do it. So that's truly believing in your belief in what you know, and whatever happens, you know, whatever we're programmed to do. So but for me, it's going to be a massive change. Just to finish off, job, not just working on my purpose. That's basically where I've gone to. I've been told it's time to walk away from society in that way, to try and work on stuff that I like. And I've still got a position where you can still earn dollars and stuff like that, but being chained and staying in a society that's not really cohesive to where I'm at mentally or emotionally and spiritually is not really working for us. And it's been like that for probably 3 years. So it's coming to an end. So now I've got to let the process go in the next. It's Neptune retrograde, so it's going to finish in January, which is pretty much going to be a finish to this cycle, which is a pain in the ass, but it is what it is.
Just got to let it play out, man. The universe goes in cycles, and you just got to ride the wave.
Yeah, ride the wind.
And whatever happens, that means, you know, whatever's falling apart, it's because it needs to fall apart, and we don't need to resist it. It might be because you're holding on to your ego. You're holding on and
let it go.
Yeah, you're holding on to all the Matrix stuff. A lot of stuff, you gotta think the Matrix. What is it based on? It's also based on, right? A lot of it's money driven, right? Consumer driven, right? Stuff like that. So there's gonna be triggers that come up, like financial triggers. I know for me, right? I mean, I'm still working a job. Like, luckily, it's not toxic. If it was toxic, this would be a different conversation. But it's good for now. But eventually, you know, are all these jobs, you know, these things, are they really in alignment? That's taking up a lot of energy too. So a lot of people are gonna have a fork in the road, right? Where they're saying, hey, this is really not fulfilling my spirit anymore. I need to fulfill my life purpose. Luckily, I am doing something. I'm doing both, but it is taking up a lot of energy. I have to spend energy between 40 hours of work week, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And doing this, I'm not at a point where I can just stop and go full time I'm not there yet, you know, with what I'm doing. And, but I'm just, whatever needs to fall apart. That's relationships that aren't serving you, friends that are not on the same wavelength, you know, with the split and everything. We all have friends we've known for years, right? That we're good friends with, and you care about them, and it sucks. You want to help them, but you know in your heart, even though you care about them and maybe they want the best for you, know they're not at the exact same vibration. Like, they're not trying to do what you're trying to do, and, you know, even you kind of lose things in common with them, right? Even for entertainment, like, what do you do when you hang out? I've noticed that with certain people, I don't have anything in common and everything to talk about. You know, I've had history with them, but that just because you had history with people, you know, doesn't mean you gotta continue hanging out. You either maybe distance yourself, or you gotta protect your. But the point is, you gotta protect your energy at all costs. Yeah.
Just had to delete somebody who I thought I was really good friends with because
I'm always doing that.
I don't know if I mentioned this last time or if I was talking to you guys about it or the Guides of Gaia group.
No, there was one you're saying you sent
my meditations,
the messages, and then they basically did it.
And he just kind of like sent my roommate a message saying, if you don't stop sending me this shit, I'm gonna delete you both.
Yeah, we heard that one. That was
yeah, dude, like so like I deleted him, and then I've been thinking really hard about it, and just like, do I also delete his girlfriend? And like, she was a big supporter of mine for a while, but she's also the friend of mine that would, like, back in the day, like, she would constantly fact check me. So it's that same couple, that same group of friends. So it's like, I'm kind of just like, I'm like, do I just let it go? Like, am I holding on? Like, I'm just trying to, I don't know what I'm doing with that one, but it's one of those things where it's like, I'm trying to move myself up to, you know, another level. And are these the things that are going to hold me back? Is that what I have to let go? Do I let go of all of it So it is hard, right? Because these are people that had a place in your heart. It's not easy. Like we can talk
No,
about this all day long, but when it comes to actually doing the thing, it's not easy. Like
It's hard.
I think
it
the
takes a
way,
lot of soul searching. It takes a
Yeah.
lot of like back and
Or you
forth
could
and
just
like
distance you know, I mean, like, there's some people I still care about, and they aren't, unless they're really bringing me down, but sometimes if you're just on a different vibration, we do different things, I'll just spend a little bit less time with them, you know, I don't want to, I think it's
yeah.
just important right now to protect your energy at all costs, so you can just feel how you are when you're around people. If you don't know, you know how you feel. Sometimes some people you feel a little bit lower, maybe they aren't super toxic, but you know, your body picks up, you know, your soul knows, like, you know, you just see how
Oh,
you
yeah.
feel. Some people you feel really heavy after hanging out. Some people, like you guys, I feel light. My vibration side. We all said that about each other, right? We need
Yeah.
to
yeah,
try to be around people that are more like that. Look, and then obviously there's family members. There's a
Oh,
lot of stuff we can't control, but if we can limit our time and just find, you know, just we have to be more selfish right now,
mhm.
and protecting our energy. I mean, you know, it's important right
There's
now.
I like
people
how
out
you,
there.
yeah,
So,
I like
yeah,
how you
so I was
said
just
that. Sorry,
go
sorry,
ahead.
Sarah.
No, no,
Sorry,
no.
no,
Go
no,
ahead.
that's
Go
all
ahead.
right.
Go ahead.
So I'm on a delay. Sorry, I don't know what's happening with that. Keep going. You're right. Go.
No, 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 no. I cut you off, man. Sorry.
No, 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 no. That's all right. No.
Nah, nah, nah. Well,
You
what I
should.
was gonna say, anyways, really quick. There's some people out there that like I hang out with. I need a nap when I'm done spending time with them, man. Like
Yeah.
I'm just like, hey, you just sucked all of my energy right out of me, and then you guys, like, I feel light, I feel happy, I feel good. It's like knowing. It's about paying attention to those things, right? Paying attention to those cues in your body, paying attention to if you're in a group of people and you're trying to speak up and your throat feels tight or you start to get that anxious butterfly feeling in your stomach, then you know that that's not a good situation for you to be
Yeah.
in. Your body is trying to
Yeah,
tell you that this situation is not for you. So start paying attention to those little cues and life gets easier, right? Or like if you're spending several hours with someone, by the
excuse
time
me.
you're done, you need to go take a nap, then you know that's somebody that you need to limit your time with because you know that is a drain on your energy. So you might love them. It might be a family member that you can't just walk away from. That's fine. But know how to protect your energy, know when to limit those interactions so that it doesn't cause any detriment to you and your growth and, you know, your ascension. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
look, I think that's exactly right. But you look at also, I think you start to get into your power as well, where you don't read too much into things. You have to understand things change on a basis, but at the same time, it's just like you go. This is the whole school of life, the school of energy shifting, and the school of, I guess, our own personal school of spirituality, where you're walking the walk every day, and you're going, right, this is where I'm at. But the other thing is, I look at is, all these. The big thing is the ego with all these stuff. So, say I got stuff happening with bands and stuff, right? Jesus Christ, tell you what,
The
fuck
amount of
me.
ego that must be going around in those two bands, man.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have to. Well, you know what? At the end of the day, out of everything, you step away and go, does it really affect me? No, no. And I
No.
say everything I've done is to protect. And it's funny enough, I've done everything to protect myself. So even with the job at the moment, which I've got, I know where the cycle is because apparently, because it's really funny. Look back at a cycle. Like I've always looked at cycles in my life, and 10 years ago, which is basically you got a 10-year cycle, which they say that, right? What's happening now happened 10 years ago. It's just that I have more resources. I'm better equipped to deal with this change than what I did 10 years ago. Well, it
Yeah.
wasn't bad, but it was more of a struggle because I was still going. I was nowhere near the person I was now, spiritually and mentally and emotionally. But look at the similarities between the
Yeah.
years. So it was 2012, 2013, thereabouts. That's when the big changes all happened. Obviously, moving into, I was slowly moving into the teaching realm and all those kind of things. But now I'm sort of getting out of that teaching realm, moving into what we're doing and all this other stuff that I like doing. So I needed to go through all that to do it. But yeah, just making some sort of not comparisons, but you can sort of say that these lessons or these phases in your life do recreate if you do look at the 10-year cycle type thing. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, it's really important to like look at your cycles, look at where you've come from in your past, look at what you've overcome, look at what you still need to work on, and look at where patterns in your life are repeating. Like for me, there's cycles of that keep repeating where I get shown the same thing in a different way, and it's always about using my voice, and it's always about, this is the time to speak up. Last time you didn't, so now it's going to come right back and it's going to show up in your life again in a different way, different people, different situation, but the same scenario of needing to speak up and express what I want and really own that. Like, this is what I want. These are my desires. This is what I need for my life, and being okay with voicing that without worrying about, well, how is it going to affect him? How's it going to affect her? What are they going to think about it? What if he thinks that's wrong? I can't be stuck in that loop anymore. And I'm in that period right now again where there's specific things that I need to look at within my life that I could keep doing what I'm doing and go with the flow, because it's like what people are expecting me to do right now. It's like, oh, well, we just have to go with this. Or I could stand up and say, actually, I'd rather do it this way. I'd rather have this time on my own. I'd rather do this on my own, as opposed to continuing this cycle of allowing people to put themselves at a detriment to help me. I don't want that anymore. And I've been in that position more than once. And I've let people continue to take care of me and to do the things that make them feel good about the situation, where I'm feeling a little bit like, yeah, I'm taken care of, but my voice isn't being heard. So it's about stepping up and knowing that it's time for me to, like, really step out of that cycle. And the only way for me to step out of that cycle is to use my voice and not let other people deter what I'm trying to say to suit their narrative. So that's something that I'm working on right now. And that's a pattern that I've seen in my life 4 or 5 times now. And I think now is the time that I have to actually do something about it. Because I keep
Yeah,
getting stuck in these scenarios that I'm not overly happy with because I'm not using my voice. And I'm finally starting to see that. It's like, yeah, it's not a bad situation, but it's not what I want. It's not where I see myself. It's where other people see me. It's what makes them feel good about my life, not what makes me feel good about my life. You know what I mean? So it's
yeah,
about, rather than making everybody else feel comfortable because they're doing something good for me, it's saying, thank you, I appreciate that, and I appreciate everything you've done for me, but I need to go do this on my own. And not letting them get upset. Like, they can be upset about it, but not letting their upsetness affect my decision to keep moving forward. So it's difficult, but that's a cycle that's popped up for me. That's like exactly like what you were saying. It just keeps popping up every couple of years. There it
It's
is
like, what's
there's a
again.
up?
cycle
It's like,
like
what's up? Are you
so
done with
keep
this? Or
going.
can I move on? It's like,
No,
can the energy move or not? Can we move forward or not? It wants to move, right? It's stuck in different level. We all have different things that's going on, but you
yeah,
can sell the energy wants to go. It's like, nope, okay, go, yeah, shut back down. But then it's gonna come up another, yeah.
Yeah.
I see it now, and it's like, oh shit, oh my gosh.
Yeah. Like, it'll be okay if I do this, everything will be fine. But deep down, I'm not 100% happy. It's good, it's not bad, but I'm not 100% happy. So it's like,
it's
do I
saying that,
really want to keep going with it's okay and everybody else is happy and I'm not 100% happy, but at least it's okay? Or do I want to be really happy and really good about this and know that I did something for me and I used my voice to express my needs? So I don't know.
this is
It's
pretty. This is where you're saying that that's interesting what you're saying because you go, are you 100% happy? And the other thing is pretty much going with the flow with what you're doing.
mm,
And where was I going with that? Because he made a really good point. It's just a case of, I guess, trusting in the process as well.
mm,
And I think
yeah,
when you actually, it's funny when you actually fully put your trust in what you're doing. Um, and doing our work and understanding the energy and the balance within ourselves to do that, you can trust yourself. You can trust yourself in that way anyway. So you attract what you believe. And I think with all the shadow work that we've done, so when you do make the decision again, say you made the decision 10 years ago and it went one way, then now you make the same decision, but you're in a different mindset. You have a different outcome. I do believe we've got multiple choose your own adventures, like depending on where we're at in life.
Oh,
Yep,
yeah.
their
So,
adventures
That's
are.
how you jump timelines,
Jeez,
man.
man.
Whatever
yeah, we've
decision
got
you
different
make, you're jumping
timelines
on a
depending on
different
what you do.
timeline.
Well,
Yeah.
you got a different timeline. If I'd stayed the way I would, it could have stayed the way it was. But and the universe puts that situation in front of you, and you deal with it. Depending, you can go up or you can go down. You can stay right where you are. So there's always lessons in everything you do. So yeah, even today, I'll be making a decision, and no, I have made a decision. I know exactly where. This is the hardest thing. I know exactly where it's going to what's going to happen. I can see it, I can feel it, but I've got to let the process be. It's like I can run to that point, but you're not going to. You still have that. You still have that process to go through. And bloody Neptune retrograde makes total sense of getting rid of false things and things that don't make you happy.
Yeah.
Or things you got to work on. So that's what's happening right now. And that's pretty much, that is a process in what's happening. Everything will come because if you believe in what you're doing, it's going to happen. It's not that easy. Don't get me wrong. You got to have some hard times and stuff, but preparing yourself with all the shadow work and everything we've done, everything will be okay because we're here now, isn't it? We've been through it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting integrating all that shadow work and getting yourself to that next level and like acknowledging the work that you've done. It's quite the process.
But I tell you still, man, the veil's coming off with people. Holy shit.
Yeah, it's I mean, and a lot of us expect this already, right? So even for us, there's a lot. But imagine the people that, I don't like to say people waking up, but yeah, people that are different levels, that are a little over lower levels of consciousness, and some of them it's going to be a shock. Like all your belief systems are shattered when you figure out you've been lied to, all the manipulation, and then you don't know what's real and what's not. Like some people are still going to reject it even when it's right in their face, right? Some people still won't be able to, their psyche can't handle it. And think about how can you, because you think about it, you still have to survive in this world. Some people have families, some people have job, there's different obligations, right? And so some people, it's a defense mechanism, like they're trying to survive in this world and not completely like their psyche crash. And that's a big jump if you're not aware of any of this. That's a huge, so we have to be also kind, and like understanding, compassionate. It's not that, oh, we're more woke or awake. I hate using the word woke, but like more awakened. but it's like, dude, imagine if you're, we were in lower states of consciousness at one point. We all were, some of us have more gifts than others, or we sense something was going to know. But imagine finding all that stuff for the first time, and you're in your own little world, and and you've been programmed a certain way. So some people just didn't wake up from the program, and we've all been programmed to some extent, and so we have to be understanding, and people, that's going to be a lot for people, man, and some people aren't going to make it, they aren't going to be able to handle it, and, we can see what happened with my family, members, so, just have to be mindful and be kind, and, and when people are flipping out, you think their ego's involved, also, a lot of times it might be just so much for them to handle, and that's the only way they can handle it, so we shouldn't take things too personal. People have different ways of handling it, and some people don't have coping mechanisms to deal with stuff. And I was one of those people, I had to learn. I had to go to a holistic facility for 4 months to learn coping skills because I didn't know how to cope with shit either. I just got effed up all the time. That was my way of dealing with it. So, and a lot of people are in that state. And I know people that are still, and so I'm like, man, so we just have to be kind of like, we've done Dark Nights of the Soul. We've been through spiritual awakening. So, you have to be there to guide, I'm not saying it's our responsibility to fix them. They have their stuff to work on, but, to be understanding. And when they're, some people who rejected what you said before might come to you later and be like, oh man, you were right. Or like, oh, what do I do? And we just need to be understanding and be willing to help people and kind of hold the light. That's what they say, light workers. It's not about really giving your light away. It's kind of like holding it within you, keeping it in your energy and like the people that are ready will
Finding it
come.
outward.
And then there's people that'll be triggered by it, of course. And there's going to be people that actually will realize, hey, want some more info, or the hell do you deal with this crazy shit?
Yeah, it's a case of it's just everything's coming up that
There's more for me. I mean, I'm not done. Unfortunately, there's so. I mean, I don't like I said, but I don't want to say it can't get worse. But I'm prepared. I know that there's more work that needs to be done. I'm willing. I want to resolve it. I want to move forward. I want to get better. So whatever that I need to do, I'm willing to put. But some people don't want to. Yeah, we have to understand. Some people.
A lot of people
not.
don't want to,
and they're in their comfort zone. Like my mom, she knew this shit was coming up. I consider her an empath actually, but she couldn't get out. She was in a dark hole, and I believe that kind of like dark entities, kind of like, energy like was threat. She couldn't get out of the dark energy. She even tried to watch some of my videos. She couldn't, man. She was trying, but like it's like it pulled her down too much.
It's look, it's a weird time with all the conflict going up, and then we're growing. I mean, it's a similar thing that happens all the time, but you can see it focuses on certain things, and certain things are supposed to happen at certain times to give you that lesson, because you're ready for that lesson, because you've already learnt the 5 beforehand, so you're ready for it. And it's like now comes into the time where you were saying at the start of the video, we're going into what we love. We're getting rid of everything that we don't. It's as simple as that. It's like it might be say, oh yeah, we do that all the time, but no, it's a deeper level stuff, reaction, and you're not in alignment with where you are and what you're doing. If you're not in alignment, you have to get rid of it.
Yeah, it's going to bring you down. It's going to
phase it out.
Yeah.
Thanks very much for listening to the Life Theories crew. From myself, Jay, Journey of a White Feather. You can check my videos out on YouTube. Small Sarah, Big Soul over in Canada. Little Pixie over there, Raven from the Titans. And the lovely Diana from Virginia. Starfire, as I call her. You can check that. You can check her out on Trailblazers of the Universe. But if you add her as a friend, guaranteed, first thing that comes up in the morning is her stuff, and it's
memes.
She's got some intuition to pick out stuff that you need in the day. It's really, really cool.
I got those downloaded memes.
Oh, download. Hey, start doing your own.
In the Leo memes. The Leo memes.
Get up there, Leo.
Thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure. And from Lily, my Lily doll, or Lily the doll, which I brought in just for I know it's a cool doll. It's cool, but it's crazy.
Awesome.
It's Halloween coming up, ladies and gentlemen. My favorite time of the year. But anyway, thanks very much for everything. Keep subscribing, and sharing. Hit that bell for notifications. You know the drill. You know how it works. Thanks very much. Make sure you share it. And if you want to come on board and be a guest, we'd love to hear your theories. That'd be awesome. So take care. Peace out. And we'll see you next week for Life Theories.
Bye.
Take care, everybody.